Today I chat with Sheldon Quimby. Sheldon is the founder and CEO of Interfile. He's passionate about the role technology plays in streamlining processes and improving people's lives. So as you've mentioned, you've been involved in quite a few large online government systems. What are some of the benefits that you are seeing and also some of the key challenges that you are facing?
So Dan, I think probably what I mentioned earlier is our involvement with the Department of Labor. We, and specifically in terms of the uFiling system. I go back through the years when we did SARS e-filing and we had huge load on the system and we spoke about the benefits it was providing there. We've seen it in terms of certain things within the city of Tshwane when we implemented stuff like meter readings, we reduced call center load by 30%. What we haven't seen is this desperate desire and the specific requirement for people to have to work remotely. So those were always things that gave people an option to do it remotely, and we would tout the benefits of doing it remotely. Suddenly, we've been catapulted into a new world where you have no option but to do it remotely. Now, government is providing stimulus packages, and one of the key things they're doing is they're providing support for people who are temporarily unemployed. That's critical to get money to these individuals so they can get food into their mouths. Now, the uFiling system is at this point in time, it's coping with around about 3,500 concurrent users. That means 3,500 people at the same time doing an application for benefits, or they're doing a user registration, or they're declaring their domestic or their employees. 3,500 people at a single time. What does that mean? That means I don't need, I've got a reduction. I don't need 3,500 clerks or administrative people to deal with those individuals. The system's doing it. So we talk about the best service is no service. Serve yourself. And this is what's happening. So from a benefit point of view, if the Department of Labor didn't have uFiling in place, I think we'd be dead in the water. I think this country would be battling tremendously. So from a benefit point of view, I think it's been huge, and we're seeing how digital can help us. From a challenge perspective, when uFiling was built, we looked at this and we said, how many people do we have on average using the system? And we had about 50 concurrent people. So I used the analogy of a road. So we said, well, we've got about 50 cars that drive down this road. Let's test the system to cope with 500 cars. And we did that, and it coped perfectly. All of a sudden, we wake up and there's 50,000 cars on this road. And you've now got to deal with these 50,000 cars. So the greatest challenge we've had is to upscale uFiling, to add additional capacity to it, to add additional people to it, to add additional resources to it, to add additional bandwidth to it, et cetera, for this to cope, without being given any time, without any warning. Nobody said to us within the next 6 months, please provide for this. They said to us, tomorrow we want this. So the system is coping with that, but you have a lot of non-tech savvy people, individuals who wouldn't have done this electronically. They would have gone into a labor center, who are now having to do it electronically, and they battle. So, one of the things that I suppose for me is upsetting as a service provider is our names are out in the market. The Department of Labor and the UIF's name is in the market. And people are complaining because a few individuals have inputted the incorrect information, or they don't understand the technology, and there's complaints. They make mistakes. For example, they put in the wrong bank account number. Then they send a supporting document with a bank account. We say, but you entered the wrong number. Look at the two are different. But they're blaming the department. The department should be applauded for what they've done. I think they've done a phenomenal job. They're servicing the citizens very well. And without this country would be in serious trouble. We also need to start to think about how do we applaud and how do we compliment and how do we thank. And I think in this instance, for me, it's a big thank you to Labor for what they've done.